doing. Here we go. I just gave Butch his hat.
Yep.
And the stupid
Thank
camera
you
cut
very
off.
much.
Let's make sure we can see
Thank
that.
you very much.
Make pinball great again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like if Mr. Trump don't get in next year, we're not going to have a country.
Excuse me.
We're not going to have a country.
Tell me about it.
This nitwit they have now, how could anyone in their right mind vote to put this Joe Biden in?
I know. Let's not talk about. Let's not get upset because we're not going to change anything here. And I want to try to keep it on bingo. I'm like-minded. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But all it'll do is get me upset, and then, can't do anything about it anyway.
Well, all we'll have to do is we'll just have to change your shirt. You've got the Blues Brothers on
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
We just have to add Joe Biden to that shirt because
Easy,
sure one
man.
of the Blues Brothers. It's a Blues City ever got elected.
You didn't
I
like your
won't say
Blues
anymore.
Brothers movie?
Yeah.
I love the Blues Brothers movie. I've drank more bourbon watching that movie, especially when Ray Charles, the little kid's getting ready to steal the guitar, and Ray Charles rips out and goes, BAM! He says it's a shame to see these young kids go bad.
Amen, brother.
Jeff, this isn't a bingo,
No, it's not.
No.
but it's not a flipper either.
That's right. It's a one ball.
But usually, is that all you do is you just do this?
Yep. The object is to light as many girls as you can with one ball. Mickey Coffey, which is, that man was one of the three biggest operators in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And Mickey, what a nice man. I mean, you'd have to
Come on,
know the
thing.
man the way we did. We bought several games from him. He's from Nanticoke, right? Can you imagine about 2 months after the man retired, a man was flying drunk, going through a stop sign, right, and hit him at the driver's door. He was that bad at the viewing. It was a closed casket. But I don't know how I get into that. I want to tell you about Mickey, talking about beauty contests. Now, when you talk to a man that's that big, I mean, that man owned thousands of machines. I'm telling you, thousands. He bought a couple of places that went out of business, like Acme supermarkets.
Yeah.
Buildings that big, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And places where they like used to hang up the cows and stuff. I was at
Slaughterhouse.
4 or 5 of his places, right?
Yeah.
And I sat down and I'm talking with Mickey, and I know him, I'd say as good as I know you, if not better than I know you. And I sat down in his office one time, and I'm talking to him, and what a nice man. That man had enough money he could buy and sell the city of Pottsville and think nothing of it.
So was he operating pinball machine?
That's how big he was.
Was he running bingos?
And this is
Good.
what I'm coming to, why I'm telling you this. And I said, Mickey, what was the best gambling pinball that you ever made money on? And this is the man to talk to. A man that had thousands, I'm telling you, right? He must have 30, 40 men working for him, just fixing them and emptying them, And he says, Butch, he said, let me tell you, of all of them, he personally liked the ones with the hold, like one of my three favorites, the Surf Club.
Surf
you know,
Club, yeah.
And that's the only one ever made with a double hole.
Correct.
You know that. That was his favorite one, his personal favorite with the hole. But he said the pinball that he made the most money on, now imagine this, he says it's magic squares.
Oh, I believe it.
He said, well, he told me, he said, Butch, that was the best thing Bally ever thought of, like for operators to make money. The pinballs with the magic squares. And I says, wow, that's something, you know. But he says, do you know,
Sorry about that.
he
guys.
says, do you know what beat that? And I says, what, Nicky? He said, beauty contests, beach queens,
That's hard to believe.
the one ball ones.
Yeah.
They made them more money than the magic squares.
That's hard to believe. But
Well,
I take your word for it because I don't know any better.
I got nothing to gain by lying to
Yeah.
him. And I couldn't think of that to make it up.
Mr. Bingo. I just seen the license plate.
Yeah, ain't that neat?
Yeah,
Did you
that's,
see his
Ain't that
hat?
neat, Mike?
yeah, Steve was telling me. I said, yeah, we'll take care of that. Yeah.
Magic Squares, is that the name of a pinball machine?
It's, just,
No.
it's a style.
Okay,
No.
it's a style, like
That's,
what?
that's a feature.
To give you an idea, the double header, the right hand game
Yeah,
came to the corners are magic squares.
oh, okay.
The parade to the right of it, ABCD, those are magic squares.
A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
Oh, I see, okay, I got you.
And
You remember, Mike, I
think
told
there's
you
any
that
magic-
time
no,
I
there's no magic
talked
words
to
on this
Mickey
side.
in his office, me and him alone, and he said, what, I asked him, what gambling pinball was the best there ever was in making the money? And he says, the ones with the magic squares.
There's two guys that I remember that had the most bingos. Mickey Coffey,
Yep.
that's who I was talking about.
right. He had different ones. But the biggest place I remember that had all in one place, bingos, was Lundo in
Oh,
Pittsburgh.
yeah.
But he only had maybe 10 different style bingos. Jeff, he was running them all the way up to the end. And he was putting the solid state ones out with the dollar bills.
Yeah.
But he still ran the old ones. Because what he would do in his locations would go nickel, dime, quarter. And give the people the option to be paid out as a nickel, a dime, and a quarter. But he would put 3 gaudies in. But all the back glasses were mint except the name. He had them change all the single coins,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And believe it or not,
It's a
like
big
we're talking
square.
like the Sermo games, the Miss Americanas, the Miss Americana triple bonus, the New Orleans,
Yeah, I've
Magic
seen
Dis-
those. I know anything about.
Right.
The only guy I know who knows about those is the guy out in Vegas, the Tim Arnold. He's got a lot of those. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right? So his sons were very good at fixing the electronics. They refused to fix the gaudies, the show times. They would not work. They said they didn't know how to fix it. I'm thinking, if you can fix an electronic one, how can you not fix a mechanical one? And they couldn't. It was a new generation. And remember, he used to pay me from the time, and I never flew, Jeff, ever in my life. He would pay me from the time I left Pottsville to get out to Pittsburgh. It was exit 5. And if I can remember, I'll think about it sooner or later. I think Monroeville.
Okay.
And I would drive there, and he had a barn, bigger than our nightclub at Goodfellas, filled row after row of bingos.
Working bingos, operational.
90% no. So what he would do is, his sons didn't know how to fix them. I would go out, he'd pay me from the time I left till I would get back to Pottsville. He would pay my room, food, beverage, my hotel rooms, everything. I'd go into his barn, Jeff, and he'd have them in a row, 10, 15 of them. I'd go out every week,
For heaven's
and I'd
sake.
fix them. It was easier and quicker for them not to lose money just to swap them out. So I'd stay however long it took to get me 10, 15, whatever was in his row. And we'd go out. Remember, we knew him as Lundo, and he was Mojack's Music
Yeah.
out in Monroeville. And
Yeah, I
I'd go
remember.
and I'd fix 10, 15 of them in a row. If it took me all weekend, it'd take me all weekend. Turn around, come back. Every 2 weeks we did that. I bet you I did that for, oh my God, at least 2, 3 years.
That makes me think of something. Jeffrey, did you ever work
Yeah,
for
when-
operator?
Never.
I didn't think so.
When they broke,
Excuse me, and one reason why I never want to get caught up to that degree.
Well, right, you know what,
Because
Come on,
you're married to it.
listen, you're the doctor.
Yeah.
You can fix anything. And this is the God's honest truth. When you do it, it's one thing doing it for home people or what you do,
Yeah.
but to be constantly married to it.
Yeah, exactly. I never
Listen, it pushes me to a different level. Like, I don't want it no more. I don't even want to do
Yeah, it's
have
a-
the people.
it's a job.
I mean, honest, if it won't be for
It's
my
worse
dad,
than a job. It's worse than a job. It's your life. That's all you do. You live for it. And when Carol was alive, you know my wife.
of course I do.
When she was alive, she told me, "You're getting a little too busy." And I said, "Honey, do me a favor. When I get to the point where this is starting to get to be really like a job, shoot me. Just shoot me.
What
Put me out of my misery."
me and my wife, me and my dad just talked about what my wife told me, and that my father went through it. Now I went through it. You're married to the business.
The business.
Yes, of fixing the machines. Every day something breaks. Every single day. Where in 40 years of my marriage, I only went on 6 vacations, and that was either to, and it was every time to Florida because that's where Deb wanted to go. It'd be a week, 2 weeks, never more than 2 weeks back in 40 years. So Deb would say to me, "Listen, how can we enjoy our life?" And then it comes to the point where, what good's the money that you're making if you're not enjoying it? So then after my wife passed away, I then met a nurse at the hospital. And you weren't looking for it, but it's companionship.
It happens. Same
Right.
with Carol and I.
And believe
I
it or
drug her kicking and screaming in the
And-
garden of love.
so what happens is now this one isn't even from the United States, she's from Poland.
Ooh, okay.
So, but yet she says, I can see why you would have an argument with your wife all the time. And it's just only come up, what, 2 weeks ago, Jeff? She said, listen, you don't even take a day off. And Polish people are very, very Christian. You do not work on a Sabbath day.
Yep, yep.
And I said,
Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday, the Sabbath
Sunday.
day. So I said, she said, I could tell why you and your wife argued all the time. And it would be. If you'd be out eating, and it was one of my dad's very good accounts. Okay, you'd finish wherever you were eating. I'd drop Deb off and I'd go out on location.
Yeah.
And I'd fix the machine. And she used to scream. I said, listen, if the machine's down, they're not making money, we're not making money. And if the account gets mad, they're going to throw you out and put somebody else that's going to do it. So I did that since at the age of 14. And now it got to be too much. And now the one I'm with now says the exact same thing Deb did that I just talked to my dad about 2-3 weeks ago. I said to him, you know what? I'm going to take off Sundays. And it's just going to be, I did turn the phone off and do it.
Yep.
I did that for, this will be the watch was this the third week.
Okay.
And you know, I had an argument last Sunday. I worked to the where it's but we didn't need it. What an art! You're married, and we contend. We went out 3 a week, but we're just off, and one day I'm ignorant. It's to my dad. It's not that it could be words that you know down to his friends. Here's the problem with fixing up, and it's not going to do the machine stuff anymore. I'm ignorant. Don't, Jeff. It's like you. I'm not there being with you at a show, and I remember coming in with a Dixie. You know the problems, man. You can have that machine working this minute, and turn around and walk away, and there's going to be another problem. And that's why I don't want to do it no more.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do it.
Yeah. Well,
Tell Jeff.
how bad am I?
you
Am I
say-
that bad yet or not?
Well, when he does. We're not married, we don't live together, but we spend all of our weekends, vacations and everything together. But when he needs to go to a customer's house to work on a game, he will ask me, is it okay if I go on a Saturday? And he gets up and goes and
Well,
works on the machine.
Jeff's a better man than me because I don't even ask.
The difference is,
They heard it, Jeff.
Right,
That's-
so they figured, oh, this man will be able to do
And
this
he
like
gets
this.
phone calls all the time.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But everybody relies on Jeff, and most of the people really don't. Oh, can you just give me 5 minutes of your time? And before you know it,
it's an hour.
yes,
It's an hour.
I know.
yes,
I know.
and it's to the point where when my dad started the Facebook page, okay, it was a thing where everybody can get on and ask. So if you're online, okay, then walk somebody through it. Or like Nicholas, very good as well.
Yeah.
He'll help.
And I've
Okay.
responded to a lot of your people on the face on the page.
Exactly,
Yeah,
but
sure.
it's on your time,
Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
right? So when you do have free time and you know you're thinking about it, you're at the home by yourself, you're thinking about bingos, and nothing's there, you don't mind helping. That's why my dad wanted his Facebook page for people that did have a problem, who's ever online and available can help.
Okay.
And there's not many of us left anymore.
Well,
to be
Nothing
quite
else left.
And the thing is we did it for free, but when somebody does call to ask you a question, you don't mind helping. But listen, I know it really never happened to me, and I can bet my life it never happened to you. A 5-minute conversation doesn't talk to a 5-minute conversation. So you walk them through the steps that this has to happen, this has to happen. You're there an hour, and then but. At this point, we're not in it for the money. But the thing is, that time is money. And when he's away from you and he's on the phone, people have to understand that, but they don't.
What's the hardest words you ever have to say to somebody?
The shortest one?
I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Yes.
Oh,
It's the
I was gonna
hardest
say
words
no.
you say. Because not only are you admitting that you don't know the problem,
Ego blast, yeah.
but you're admitting you're not good enough to figure it out.
Right.
I can't say that.
Well, no. Of course not.
Well, no,
I-
you can't.
Right.
I don't mind.
How can you possibly say that?
How do you learn?
You're Jeffrey Lawton, the doctor. I mean,
No, you
everybody in the
didn't
business that
get
my
his
dad's
name
met already
Dr.
knows that.
Bingo for the hell of it, you know.
Yeah, but
I'm in
like
business
you
for the
said,
hell of it.
He earned
Jeff,
that.
how do you say that? You can't, because you know what they're thinking. You know what you're thinking, and you're thinking, listen, I just spent my whole life being able to rip a machine out. There's sometimes...
This makes me think, Mike, that you might not want this CD or DVD of Jeffrey and Hugh and I.
You never knew Hugh Cone, did you?
I never met the man, but I did hear of him. He's from down Georgia.
Down Georgia.
Yeah.
Did you have dinner with us because I always tell the same story. When Hugh Cone was learning, he was working for Bud Morrow, the guy who Bingo saw us, which is,
Oh, Doc.
he's a good guy, but he didn't know shit from Shinola when it came to fixing bingos. So he says to me, he says, I will put you up, and for every bingo you fix, I'll give you 2. And I said, no. I said, Doc, you'll pay me $75 an hour, which is cheap.
Yes.
And you'll pay me money. He said, I can't afford to pay you money because I need the money that I make. I don't have a thin profit margin. Then I said, then you don't want me, get somebody else. Okay. He got Hugh Cone. Hugh Cone says, I want to build a collection. So he went down there, he lived in a trailer on Doc's property. He's working on a Key West. And I don't remember what the problem was, but he says to me, here's my situation. This is happening, this is happening, this is... I said, okay, you got the schematic? Yeah, I got the schematic. All right. can you looking at the circuit? Yeah, I see it. I said, make a measurement between these 2 points, write down what you got. Okay, I did that. Make a measurement between these 2 points, write down what you got. Okay? I said, make a measurement between these 2 points, 3 points in the circuit. Write down what you got. Okay, you got them all written down? He says, yeah. I said, well, then you know what your trouble is.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, I remember you.
He
I
says,
remember-
you son of a bitch, I want to know what the trouble is. I said, Hugh, do you want to learn how to fix games? Or do you want somebody to tell you how to do it all the rest of your life?
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you made the measurements, you've got the circuit there, you've got what they read, you know what the problem is. The problem is right there on the page you just wrote.
Well, Hugh said.
Now,
in
let me
this
finish.
video- oh,
Let me finish the
he
story.
said you hung up.
And I did hang up. And he was pissed. He told me sometime later, after some quantity of bourbon, he finally figured it out. And he said, that's what he meant. And I called him back and he said, you son of a bitch, I'll never forget that as long as I live.
You know what? I know exactly.
Anybody who's done it seriously does.
And I can tell you the machine. Now, let's say, man, I was about 14, 15, somewhere around there. You had United's triple play.
Yep.
You could
That's
never.
a story. Tell these people
I
that.
know.
That's
United's
hard
triple
to
play is a
believe.
3-carded one. It's like a baseball
I know
thing.
it is.
Yeah, I know.
The
Okay?
girls playing
You put the first
baseball on the
first
back
nickel in, you
glass.
get the first card. Automatically, you put the second one in, your second card, third card, and then of course you go for features. You could put in a million nickels. It would never give you the second or third card. However, it'd give you features and odds. My dad brought the best of the best. We're talking operators now that had the games on the street making money.
Yeah.
Nobody could fix it. You then gave it to another operator on a trade because he wanted the baseball thing. He couldn't fix it. Years later,
Years later.
we're talking maybe, oh God, say 20, maybe even 30 years later.
At
You go up
least
to Edwardsville.
20. At least 20.
Yeah, up to Edwardsville, Pennsylvania. In there, out of about 50, 60 bingos, is the United Triple Play. And I said to my dad, let's get it. And he said, you remember the trouble we had? I said, yes, I do. Jeff, and in the machine, believe it or not, was my father's sticker, Glauda's Amusements.
That we have in every.
And I said,
you know,
"Yo,
we own, you know,
I want the game.
our name.
Now, you at the time, we're in a different world today. Where if you don't have a print, we can get it online.
Yeah.
Okay.
At that
Then you
time,
didn't.
you
Not in those days.
Right. So I said to my dad, get it. He said, nobody can fix it. I said, I'm telling you.
That
I'll get
bounced
it.
around to 4, 5 different operators.
Jeff, we
They
drove-
sold it. They couldn't fix it. They sold it to you. You couldn't fix it. You sold it to him.
We drove from Edwardsville, which is right above Scranton, down here. We put it in the shop. My dad said, unloaded it. We put it together. I said, well, you ever get so determined where that's it? You're going to stay till you fix it now. I don't care. I don't want to be bothered. So we put the head together. My dad goes up for his tea, right, to the house. I called him up. I said, game's working.
The same machine.
He said, are you kidding me?
Imagine this.
And
20 years later.
when you're working, okay, you got to remember, United's way different. There are not as many as a Bally out there.
That's right.
But at the time, I just got that fixing like a Stardust, a Pixies, right? I brought it together, and I'm thinking, no way. Now don't forget, you're working with no print. And the problem was in the extra ball step-up unit. Now, what would make the extra ball? Why would they put the step-up for the second and third card? You'd think it'd have its own disc. It didn't. The second and third card would get the power through the extra ball relay. I took the disc out, cleaned it, right? Put it back down, boom,
Fixed it.
start working perfect. Maybe 4 or 5 years later, came across another triple play, we bought it, inside was the print, and I'm thinking, are you kidding me? There it is, plain as day on the print, that it went through it, that's what was the problem. But I was that determined to get that machine.
So you
Get
fixed
so-
that without a schematic,
Yeah,
just shotgun
But-
approach.
yeah, shotgun, exactly. But
Yeah.
what helped is, at the time, you were getting your United collection together. So I was fixing Uniteds. They're different makeup than the Bally. And I thought, listen, they do some crazy stuff. And I took that unit apart, and that's where it was. Yeah, I mean, we really lucked out. And today, every single United is up at the garage up here. Because since my wife passed away, I sold
One
the big
of
house.
each. We have other Uniteds.
Yeah, but
in
they're
other
one.
places.
They're every one.
The way you have it in the book, Jeff,
Mm-hmm.
that's how we have it. Every United, right in a row, is at one place now.
Right.
They were all in my house 'cause I love the
Plus we have
United.
some other
I love the
United.
artwork on
When
it.
you
Oh, yeah, it's the
gave
best
that
looking.
video to Bunny LeBlanc, that's exactly right. They were in your either in your upstairs or in your basement, I forget which, and you were going from game to game, talking about each game.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what I transcribed.
In
That's
the
where the
showroom.
language came from
Yeah.
out of that book. It's your words.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been very. No, that's just a. We're gonna up doing a roof. Randy's just walked up on the roof. He's looking at it to do the cement work.
Oh, okay.
So up there, there's only one that we're missing, Jeff. We're missing one of each. And the United 345 that only everybody has a flyer of. However, when I looked at it, it's the same cabinet as Zingo. So did they just take the same game and change the back glass? It looks it to me, I don't know.
Could be.
Did you ever see it 3, 4, 5?
I never saw Zingo. The only
Oh, you
bingo I ever saw of them was ABC, because I never really fooled with Uniteds.
Oh.
Okay, so down in the
We
main
have
warehouse.
Zingo here, Mike.
Yeah, Zingo's up here.
Is it?
So we have Leader down in the other shop, and you also have Bolero. So the only one we're missing is United's 345. And we just found out that there's another Bally. And that's not like Serenade. We never knew it existed, but it does. And I talked to the man. At first, he didn't want to resell back to us because he has it in his museum. Problem is, he can fix EM pinballs, but imagine he has a museum, but only one bingo, and it's the bingo that nobody knows about. Honest. And he said to me, I can't fix it, or none of mine. He said, I'll make a trade. He wants a video game. Very rare video game. I think he's from the Netherlands. And I said to him, not a problem. And we're about ready to do a swap where we give him the video game and he gives us the bingo. What one's missing?
No idea.
You ever hear of it? Bally Showboat. Mississippi Showboat.
No. That sounds like a United.
It's not. It's a Bally.
Never
Showboat.
made the list, I can tell you that.
I know it didn't. And I'll
Why do I
I'm gonna
feel like
try to
I've
find.
seen a
I'm
Bally
going to try to find.
Showboat bingo.
I'm going to try to find you the picture of it.
So this guy's gonna ship this all the way from the Netherlands?
I was worried about that, but the people down in Hagerstown said, Mike, don't worry about no money with him. He's buying containers
Oh.
of games, and he's buying the games here dirt cheap. Send them over. I can't imagine what a containers to be shipped, and then he fixes them, has his guys fix them, and then
Okay.
resells them over in that country. But he definitely has it.
Well, I know Chris Howard.
So we
And-
need the
Now
container.
imagine containers.
Would this whole thing be fit in a container without it being taken apart or what?
No, you have to take them apart.
Okay,
You can't let
okay.
them upstanding.
Okay.
Chris Howard over in Britain and a couple of his buddies over there
Peter Hubbard.
bought a container about 10 years ago
Peter Hubbard. He's a big guy in the Netherlands.
No.
from Alan
Nope.
Marriage out in Vegas. You remember that, Jeff?
That's Alan. I just said his name.
Marriage? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Oh, Alan Marriage. Yeah, Alan Marriage was in
Vegas.
Nevada, I think.
And a bunch of the bingo guys over in Britain
He made
bought a
made discs.
container.
He made discs of how to fix them.
But he sold these guys in Britain a container full of bingos.
Oh yeah.
And they got them over there. I remember seeing pictures of them on the forum they have, because that's right after Hughes' forum crashed and lost all that info. You weren't on that.
Yeah, I wasn't on that.
It was a lot of stuff. It was like the go-to place to learn how to fix stuff. Helped me a lot.
Where do you see this? So everybody thought it ended with Malibu Beach. Everybody. But it didn't. I have a picture of it. You know what it reminds you of? A Dixieland with 3-4 more features.
Oh God.
After the double-double.
Oh God.
People
It's called Mississippi Showboat. I have the picture here somewhere. There's the picture. That one, the Tahiti, still in the crate. That's down in the museum or down in the shop.
There was a bunch of those around for a while.
Yeah. The reason they're around because they're a lemon.
Yeah, I know.
Didn't you have one of those, Jeff?
Yes, I did. And the one I had, I didn't get it new in the crate, but I bought it from Bill Simplotsky, who lives up in Paris, Pennsylvania, which is near Pittsburgh. And he was a funny guy. He sent me, he made a deal with me. He had the old lot of funds,
Yeah,
but they all said single coin.
yeah.
And
They're the electronic ones.
these were the old ones, the old Ohio dime games. Sorry. So he says to me, he says, Jeff, he says, come on up. He says, I'm going to sell you 6 lot of funds. I want $200 a piece for them, and you'll be all set. I said, okay, because Cincinnati, as crazy as it sounds, they die for those Ohio dime games.
Yeah.
And they're running. So I said, so I rented a trailer, took it up there with my truck. So we brought 6 games down. He says, oh no, I want to clear out the whole area up here. He's got 14 games down there in his driveway. I said, okay, let me pick up the 6 I want. He says, no, Jeffrey, you don't understand. Put all 14 of them in your truck and trailer. I said, but I'm only buying 6. He says, out of 14, you'll have 6 that work. That's the deal. So I paid him for 6 games, took home 14 games, unpacked them in my driveway, arranged them to where the neighborhood kids come around and say, oh, Mr. Lawton, what are you doing? I said, call me Gypsy Lawton, because I look like a freaking gypsy when I get in the house. And I finally got his word, and I said, I'm going to try to see if I can't fix these games. And I had to stack them in my garage in such a way, because I don't have limited amount of room. The ones that looked like I had no hope of fixing them, they went in the very back.
Yeah.
Then the little ones that
Deep
looked
storage.
deep storage. Then the ones that looked like, well, maybe I could fix these, they went the next stack. And then the 10 or 12 that I thought I might be able to service, or the 8 or 10 or whatever, how many it was, they went to the front and I fixed them. So I ended up out of the 14 games he sold me, I sold 8 of them almost immediately. And I was charging $600 a piece for them. They had no yellow line. That's how old they were. The old lot of funds.
Yeah, no yellow line.
No yellow line. And they
Wow.
they had 2 sets of search relays that chattered all the time. And I couldn't get them fixed fast enough. And they were gone. So
Wow.
then I went to the next ones. And so now I sold 8. I got 6 more. I got 4 more fixed to the point where they were pretty good
Yeah, to be sold.
to be sold. And they were painted weird. And the last one I had was a barrel of fun, but it was painted like a pirate theme.
Yeah.
with a pirate backlit that said single coin on it. And Butch, believe it or not, because it was the last one, this guy came over from Villa Hills, Kentucky. Oh man, he says, I gotta have a 6 card.
Wow.
And it looked nice with the piracy. Now me, I'm a purist.
That's good like
So to me, so he played it and he said, you know, man, he said, I gotta have this game. I said, normally, game's worth maybe, and I jacked the price up because it was the last one. I said, it's maybe worth $800 or $900, but because it's the last one I gotta get $1,400 for this game. No problem. No problem. I thought to myself, I am gonna go to hell. I can't, in fact, I can't go out in another thunderstorm because I'm gonna get struck by lightning.
Yeah.
Now, that guy, he's had that game now, this is 18 years. I've serviced it twice in 18 years. That's how well it was working.
There it is.
Oh, I see it, yeah. And I never would have thought that was a Bally, but yeah, it's gotta be a Bally.
It is, right?
I know, but I mean, the body speaks of Bally.
Yeah.
And you're right, that's a Super Dixieland is what it is.
Yep.
Which is problems squared.
Yeah. But at this point, you gotta have it.
Yeah.
You gotta have it.
It'll be nice to look at.
Yeah, and you don't even care if it works.
You
You're
won't
happy
be
to set it
able
up.
to.
Right.
You won't be able to keep it working. That's
No,
the bad
exactly.
part.
And I've told Carol this, and she doesn't understand a lot of it. These Dixielands and Nashvilles, they were the worst machines, the poorest made machines, and you just couldn't keep them going.
When they went to the plastic relays, that was it.
Yeah, it was it.
It was done.
Yeah.
And the blades were all made cheaper, real thin,
Real thin.
but that's it. You know what? I should actually send this down to Staples and have the picture
Blown up.
blown up and at least put a
Frame
picture,
it. Yeah.
a picture here. Because it's the only Bally that I know. Now I gotta press it a second time to get the second card. Third card.
Hold on, let me get that back glass, because the back glass has got the odds up in balloons up there.
No,
That's
that's your credits.
No, look up along the edge there.
That's your
Yeah,
credits.
that's a credit.
That's a credit.
You got 197 credits on there.
Oh, okay, I got it.
Right.
I stand corrected.
That's ABC
What's
was the
other-
first one that
That's
had
like
that.
that.
I never knew that until you told me.
What about that 28 hole does that, doesn't it?
No. 28 hole always had a forward game indicator.
Yeah.
Shoot a line.
Oh.
Always.
Well, then what is it? They were at York, and it was one of them. Was it something with a rocket on it? I can't remember now.
No, oh, okay. He's talking about Barrel of Fun.
Oh, yeah, that's a no
Okay.
half-time game. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that's got a row of thousands, hundreds,
Right.
and then 10,000, 20,000.
Exactly.
In fact, you know the new 6 card I just bought back?
Now you're good. No, you're done.
I'm done.
Right.
I
Now.
can't get anything lit up.
No. No.
Oh, I gotta get.
No. What that is,
easy,
you see how it says return ball advances arrow when
Oh,
lit.
okay. Yeah.
So you're
gotta
able.
earn it.
Listen, right? You're able to feed it. That's the only feature that you can feed to get.
The cards.
Right. So your first card, you get first, second, third, but you can still go for features. But there's no safety switch on the William.
So
So
you just
even
keep
though
pissing
you
the creatures off,
right, you're only cheating yourself.
Exactly.
So the minute the return ball advances, that's your only feature on the game. So now, if you shoot the ball and it comes home, that'll take this arrow to the next step. And then once you get down to here, whatever lights, first, second, or third, right? You'll get
double.
the scores double.
If you get
On that card.
Right.
If you drop that many balls home, you only need to make 6 balls home to get that.
No, you're starting all the way over here, Jeff.
Well, there's the arrow under. You got,
And
Now, when you start another game, does that cancel, Mike?
no, it doesn't.
15, 16,
16.
returns
Of which
to
you
get
got
the only
10.
feature. What a bargain!
Well, see, that's the old lighter line. That's the old lighter name features. United was made. Why Harry Williams screwed around with something like that? Because
I thought the light and name features were more generous than that.
Well, that won't reset.
Right. So when you shoot the ball,
Yeah, it's a carryover.
right, it just it carries over. Now, Williams isn't set up like a Bowie.
2 is a hit.
You need that plate.
Get that ball home, Steve.
I'm trying. No, I got
14
20.
wins.
14,
14, 24, 25.
See, if I had
2,
some
14,
nickels.
24, 25. Come on, be a man.
I'm an old
214.
man. I can't remember shit.
2, 14, 24. Try doing it with an higher dime game sometime.
No
when you
thanks.
got 8
I
or
never
9
heard of
numbers
that.
to remember.
Vic Camp used to talk about, they played 6 cards all the time, and he was talking about,
he'll spin the numbers off like
they were off driving someplace with a bunch of guys in the car, and they're all talking about combinations on the different 6, all
he knows
6
them all.
cards. Yeah, it's like he doesn't even need to look up.
Yeah.
That's when you know you put time in.
On 6
And you
cards.
lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
All right, what do I need? A 14, a
2, 14,
25.
24, 25.
24, 25. Oh, come on.
Yeah, see, it doesn't have this plate. So what we're
Bang
doing
it.
yeah, there we go. What we're doing is we have an extra United play field,
Not that
and we're
one.
going to take off what they use, because that's what they use on a Williams.
Just bang it.
What are you doing? Why are you making all that racket?
Because you shot 4 balls.
Because you shot 4
Something
balls.
to do with the timer. Oh, it's searching.
It's searching.
2. 14.
24, 25.
24, 25.
I'm avoiding 22. 24, 25. I went, that's 2 hits in a row.
So now you
Just
can
racked up.
right, just racked out.
From 5 to 9.
So now you can still go for your extra balls.
And it sounds like there's a lot of mechanics down in the lower
Oh, it
cabinet.
is.
Well, the trouble is, it ain't coming up.
For heaven's sake.
Now you got to remember, this here, you don't have a reflex unit. It's called a sequence motor that spins.
Okay.
Right.
Well, now my winner is a loser.
Yeah, you just lost.
Yeah.
You just lost 2 more games than you won.
So now, if you go over, this will stay right in that position. So it doesn't restart at every game.
Yeah, it's called carryover. Tilt.
I think I took the tilt off this one. Yeah.
So it's gonna keep
But the
searching?
timer will step up and shut it on. No, let it on. It'll step up. It'll
Okay.
stop.
So this game's a lot different than any of the other games you got. Where'd you get this one at?
You don't find these around too often. And every one you do, they're all wrong. But they're all doing the same thing.